Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today I'm looking at an excellent book that's come to us from Edward Elgar Publishing Limited. They're an independent publisher that provide a very high quality publication in terms of scholarship and academic research. And this particular book I'm looking at this morning is this one here. It's the Research Handbooks, again in European law, and it's the Research Handbook on EU Labour Law. We're particularly important. We're still members of the European Union at the moment. Things will change, of course, in future, but for the time being this book is particularly relevant. It's been edited by Alan Bogg, Catherine Costello and A.C.K. Davis. Obviously there are contributors who are heavily involved as well. The book is available online as well as through the normal channels as a paper copy. Elizabeth and I have given the title for our review the following: Key Issues and Major Topics in EU Labour Law Critically Examined. That's what you're getting with this particular book. Let's have a look at it first of all. There it is, and that's the spine, nice blue cover, and then there's a lot of detail on the back, quite substantial information from a whole range of people, and gives them some information about the publisher, the actual authors. The book runs to nearly 600 pages. There's the index there. It's actually got page numbering in the index, so you should be able to find things quite easily. Then we get into the back of the book. What I like about these research handbooks is they have a conclusion section at the back. There is footnoting and there is numbering, so you should be able to find things pretty easily depending on what you're looking for. That is the list of the research handbooks. And you can see there quite a large number that they've already published. This is the particular front page for this one. Then you've got the detail. There's the online information there. Then you've got the various parts that make up this handbook. It's actually 4 parts in total, then the index. Then you have the list of all the people who are the contributors. Large number of people again involved, all being brought together to produce this work. As I say, these are high quality books. There's a useful abbreviation section, which I'm sure everybody will find very helpful, and you've got that there as well. Then you've got the editor's introduction, which is always worth reading because you get some idea of where we are at the moment with this particular book. As I say, it sets out how they've gone about their task, and it gives you a lot of very useful information. And then you can see there's a bit of paragraph numbering inside, and then of course you've got the footnoting. As I say, a very good book, a very high quality book for all. Now let's have a look at it and see what we think of the book. As I say, it's one of the latest in the Elgar's Research Handbooks in European Law series, and we've reviewed a number of them recently. And it's a timely publication, especially for UK scholars and practitioners. We are entering a massive period of change within Europe at the present time. I don't know where we're going to be going with a lot of this, but at least we know where we have substantive laws, rules and regulations, and basic views about how we conduct matters such as labour law, how it's actually viewed at the moment. Where the future takes us, I've no idea. But it may or may not be a coincidence then that in the few months since Britain's historic Brexit decision, there have been spectacular instances of labour unrest, with primarily transport unions here in the UK conducting frequent strikes, thus inflicting considerable damage to the British economy in general and to that of London in particular. Now, I'm recording this at the beginning of 2017. As I say, we don't know quite where we are. We're about to start our application to leave the EU. So on that basis, the law will remain current for some years to come, I would think, before any big changes take place. Happily then, for those now seeking rational perspectives on labour law matters, the 3 editors of this book, all from Oxford University, have brought together the work of almost 24 international scholars, all offering specialist expertise across a wide range of issues pertaining to this still relatively young and certainly complex discipline. The result, as the editors reassure us, is a state-of-the-art assessment of European Union labour law in its many facets. The book's 24 or so articles are grouped under 4 headings: cross-cutting themes, individual employment law, collective labour law and equality. And it's fair, those are the parts that make up the actual book itself. It's fair to say that each individual essay or article delivers thoughtful and insightful analysis of the topic it concerns. And of the many themes and analyses which permeate the book, there are several which should generate immediate interest amongst UK readers. The first 2 chapters, excuse me, for example, assess the relationship between European Union labour law and national law. Always an important factor. It's been a big political concern, frankly, in this country because of the directives from Brussels. So you can understand the Eurosceptic argument and the boss's argument as opposed to the rights of the workers. So there is all of that information sort of in the mix. Also examined, of course, is the relevance of EU labour law to other bodies of European Union law. That's from human rights issues to the law of the internal market, and with worrying inherent threat to the autonomy of member states, which understandably has caused apprehension and disquiet within the United Kingdom. All, as I said, of these issues are the view by some people that we are having things imposed on us from another country or another organisation without our say-so. And that really has been part of the issue about whether we should remain as a member of the EU or not. I know that's one of them, but at least you can get some feel for the flavour of the argument. So what now after Brexit then? Because we've got this decision, it's going ahead. The problem here is that the bulk of the book was written shortly before this seismic change occurred. Remember, it was June 2016, recording this in Feb 2017. So we're just about to enter the March era, if I can put it that way. And it'll be, before we know where we are, it'll be the post-EU membership of the, UK membership of the EU era that's upon us. So the obvious conclusion is that Brexit is still an unknown quantity, and it's that, therefore, that it's going to be too soon to tell what is going to happen next, and we certainly are in that position at the moment. We're having the debates in the Houses of Parliament, and we will know a little bit more later on about where we're going. Assuming, however, that Brexit does go ahead, which now seems a certainty in our view, the editors believe at this early stage that its effect on European Union labour law will be hard to predict. Absolutely, we've no idea. They do, however, allude to such consequences as downward pressure on standards and wages and possibly some erosion of the European social model. I'm sure that will happen because when you look at the politics of this, people who are seen as Remainers are generally looked on as a bunch of lefties to a certain extent, and the Eurosceptics, the people who wanted to leave, generally seem to be relatively right-wing. That doesn't really play out, though, in Labour constituencies where you have very large numbers of people voting to leave, and yet they vote for a Labour MP who was voted for Remain. You see the tremendous split that has caused the country, and it is really about the European social model that we are refining at the moment. But what I do hope, and I'm sure many others do, is that we can keep some of the really beneficial pieces of legislation and we don't lose track of why we've actually got that legislation there in the first place. Let me conclude by saying that the detailed discussions surrounding these concerns are indeed fascinating, which is why scholars and practitioners involved in cross-border labour issues will find this volume a stimulating and successful and very useful, of course, compilation of commentary and reference, bearing in mind that the UK will still be in the European Union until at least 2020 or beyond, depending on how many years you think it will take. Those doing background research then into this area of law will especially appreciate the wealth of references contained in the extensive footnoting throughout. This is a high quality work. It's very much the house style of Edward Elgar, and we can't do our work, certainly the research elements of it, without having this sort of information available. So I'm very, very grateful to all the people for the amount of effort they've put into this. It makes our lives a lot easier. The publication date, as I say, is cited at 2016, and we will wait and see where we go. This is the book again. There's the front cover, spine, and then the back. And then if we open it up, I said you've got the index at the back. It's page numbered index. It's only it's not a particularly big one. But then if we just open it up in the sexual orientation and gender identity, big issue in America and here. The legal architecture, you've got paragraph numbering and you've got footnoting and everything else. These are big issues. They are, you will see, there are changes in America at the moment on this subject. And, for instance, you've got another one, EU Disability Non-Discrimination Law. I mean, one of the reasons we've got some of this legislation here is because it makes sense. But at the same time, the question that really has been the problem is, have we gone too far? A lot of people think we have. That really is where the political problems are. This is a legal book, and it's an excellent research handbook. Thank you to Elgar, all the people involved. As I said before, it really does make it a bit easier for all of us to have these titles, so thank you. The online side also is a great boon too. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.